What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be taking down Stage 10 of the Vegeta Story Edition Red Zone here. We've got a few different missions to do, so we're going to be focusing on the first of the three category missions here, which is for using at least 5 GT Heroes category characters on the team. Now, because it's only 5 and not a full 6, that is actually a huge help for us, because this is going to allow us to utilize like a kind of different team build. So this is what we're going to go with. We can actually, you know, have like a 7th or a 10th anniversary LR as our leader, and then just fill out with a bunch of full GT Heroes build on top of that. So we'll go ahead and jump in here. We'll go ahead and try it out with no items. I know that this stage is quite difficult. It's literally a one-phase fight against Super Saiyan Blue Goku here. And it's got quite hefty damage, you know, that's going to be happening here. So he's got 1.5 billion HP. So we're going to be here for a little while, I would imagine. And then he doesn't start out with super high attack numbers. He's got 600k stats and base, and then a 1.3 million damaging super attack. But on super attack, he greatly raises his attack and defense for one turn by 80%. Which means his normals are going to be hitting quite hard after that. They're going to be hitting probably for like probably like a million after, yeah. Like a little over a million after he super attacks. And then also, with each turn pass, he's getting 10% attack up to 50%. And with each super attack he performs, he's getting an additional 5% attack up to 50%. And he disables dodge. So, with all those things in mind, he is going to be getting quite difficult over time. Oh, and then also he can do 2 super attacks per turn, and he only has a cooldown of 1 attack. So, yeah. That he is going to be gaining stats quite quickly as the event goes on here. So, we'll see. We'll see how we do. I figured that bringing the Vegetos would be helpful just for the heightened leader skill, on top of anything that we could potentially get from just doing like a full GT Heroes build, right? And then the other kind of factor I was considering is that they have type advantage, and then if we did manage to get to the point where we can actually transform with the Vegetos, then obviously those turns themselves are going to be quite insane for the amount of damage that we can do here, right? Okay, so he did launch one of his supers right away, which means already his normals got a massive power buff to them for the remainder of the turn. And then I guess that could happen once more even. If he does super attack a second time, then he is going to get that 80% stat raise again, right? So yeah, I would not be too surprised to see if we take, you know, if we end up like taking a couple L's here before we do get a win. Oh, yeah, and then I guess I didn't mention it yet, but he does also have a damage threshold. So in the early part of the fight here, while we're trying to stack up our unit stats and stuff, we're not going to be doing any damage to him yet. So that is fun. But yeah, we will attempt this a couple of times with no items here, and then maybe after like 2 or 3 attempts, if we're unable to make anything real happen, then we'll attach a support memory and some support items and see how we go about getting the stage done, because obviously there is no mission to like clear this with no items or anything, so we are free to do that. I am curious what kind of damage we're going to take in the next 2 slots here. Luckily, both of the super attacks are already out of the way for the turn, but with that, he has raised his attack power by 160%, so I'm curious like what these normals are going to look like. Okay, well, we're tanking them, so that's fine. Alright, no biggie then. But again, as each turn goes, and as he does more and more super attacks, then his base attack power is just going to continue rising, so hopefully we won't see a point where these units start taking damage from normals. We do have a pretty strong build overall. One of the main units that I am a little bit concerned about is the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Just because he has dodge cancel, right? And primarily when he's in base, he is going to be depending on that dodge. So we're going to have to try and get him transformed as quickly as possible, right? Okay, so a bit scary here. We don't really have a slot 1 unit. Again, I would put the Super Saiyan 3 Goku here, but he needs to dodge. He really needs to dodge in order to have that, like, defensive viability. Let me see. Let's go ahead and double check his passive real quick. Remind myself if he's got any, like, damage reduction. I mean, okay, this part that he has the guard is helpful for sure, right? He's still probably our best bet for slot 1. But yeah, that is really going to hurt him. And then when can we transform? Turn 5. So if we keep him on rotation right now, he's going to have another turn of not being able to transform. But again, it is probably going to be more helpful to have him up front. I don't know, maybe we should put the Goku up front, just because he has the slightly higher defense number. Because ideally, I would like to run the rotation like this. So I guess as long as we don't get supered in that slot, in that first slot, but it's very likely that we do. We might just take a KO here, but I mean, that's fine if it happens. We're experimenting a little bit, seeing what we can get away with this team, right? Okay, some very nice orb selection for them. That's definitely helpful. And then remember, we do have the support from the Super Saiyan 3 Goku as well, right? Okay, here we go. Taking a super up front to the face. Is this going to hurt? Probably. Yeah, and we're donezo. Okay. Man, the lack of slot 1 units here is really probably like the biggest detriment to the team. Let's see. Okay. So I have an idea here. What if we change the friend lead to another Super Saiyan set of the Super Saiyan 4s? What if we do that? Because if we do this, then now we have one extra slot 1 unit that we know we can guarantee, like, being safe in slot 1. We're taking a bit of a cut to the leader skill. But then obviously everybody's on GT Heroes, and then they're on Fuse Fighters. So we know they're on the leader skill at least. Potentially this could be a good idea. That way we have a little bit more protection for those first couple of turns. Because obviously both the Vegetos are going to be really weak, like turn 1. Maybe this could end up working out for us. Obviously our rotations kind of screwed us, and if our rotations had been set up better, then we would have been maybe okay, but I think I like the idea of this. And then, honestly, given the way of like what I saw of what just happened, I feel like we're probably going to need to use items to get through this, at least to support memory. So yeah, let's go ahead and activate this one so that all these GT Heroes allies will get the permanent buff, and then I guess I'll just bring a Whis or Ghost Usher. Let's go Whis. And then, yeah, just in case. I'll probably end up saving the Whis, but then, like, if we get to a later point of the fight where it looks like we're getting close to winning, then I could probably just pop the Whis to ensure the win, right? Because a double Whis would give us 2 guaranteed turns of safety later in this fight. And then, obviously, he'll be stronger a lot later in the fight, so that'll be when it's more necessary to have those active anyway. And then, yeah, hopefully the support memory can help make up for the lost stats from the leader skill. And we should be alright here. Okay, we'll keep our 2 stackers on rotation. I think that's probably the smartest way to go. We're going to want them stacking up as much as possible, just to make sure that we're actually doing damage to this guy, right? Because with that damage threshold, that could be a bit hurtful for us. And then we do want to get as many orbs as possible with the GT Super Saiyan. Both the Goku and Vegeta, because they have the nuking passives, so we'll make sure to keep that in mind throughout the fight. But yeah, it's looking like they're probably going to end up being like our slot 3 orb changers, for the most part. Okay, and then looking ahead to the next turn, it looks like we did get unlucky with our rotations there as well. So if we have to tank a slot 1 super, we're not going to be able to. That is big unfortunate. But yeah, it kind of all comes down to the rotations. We really just have to have the LR Super Saiyan 4s on both of the first 2 rotations, which we did not get lucky enough to do, because they're in slot 7, so unfortunately they're going to have to just be rotated off on this next turn here, which it will mean good things for this rotation, because it means that their first turn of activation now, they have the 77% damage reduction, and then on turn 3, when we get the other ones, we can put them in slot 1, because they'll have the big turn of protection, it being their first turn. And then at that point, they'll be split onto opposite rotations, because we can rotate the other one off at that point. Which means from that point forward, we'll be set up for their transformations and stuff, right? Because we're probably going to need to transform them sooner than later. This seems like one of those fights where we're probably not going to be able to wait super long and continue stacking them. Though maybe. We'll have to see what their defensive stats look like. If they're still looking like they're going to be able to be protected against these super attacks. But I doubt it. They're going to need like 2 million or something like that to be safe against one of these supers. Without any of the additional damage reduction on top of their kit as well, right? So we'll see. We'll see how that works. Okay, wow. This guy has so much HP. Definitely going to be depending on like that Vegito transformation doing some real work for us a little bit later in the fight, right? Okay, hopefully post super attack we're going to be safe here. Awesome. Okay, so we live turn 1, easy peasy with the Super Saiyan 4s, and then now we have another treacherous and precarious turn. So we are going to keep these two together. Oh, does he actually get a little bit more defense that way? No, he's got more here because of Saiyan Roar. Right? I believe Saiyan Roar is what's not active. Oh, there's like a lot of stuff not active, yeah. Okay, then, yeah, let's go ahead and do this for now. Because we do want him to be up front, but we also need him to have the most possible defense that he can get. Yeah, okay. Let's do that. This is, again, feeling like a very possible situation where we see a KO happen, unfortunately. Okay, we'll grab these orbs, and then hopefully we can still get a decent selection. No, it's only going to be 4. Okay, that kind of hurts, too. Okay, well, it's really going to come down to this first slot, if we can survive or not. Yeah, if we get supered, we're done. Okay, at least being post-super here now, we should have a little bit more defensive capability. But I still don't know if we can survive a super attack in base here, just because he does depend on dodging so much. Let's see. Especially because we only have 50% of our HP left now. I wouldn't be surprised if we take another KO. Okay, wow, they did actually tank that. So then maybe we're going to be okay for the turn. Because everybody else post-super, their defense should be fine enough to tank here, right? No. Oh my goodness. He got absolutely flattened. And that was just from a normal attack? Okay, he's got to come off the team. He's not strong enough. We got to replace him with somebody. But again, remember, it does have to be a GT Heroes ally. So... Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna make a cut and pull something up in my Discord server, and then I'm gonna actually show it to you guys. Okay, so I was actually having a discussion in my Discord server last week with somebody about this event. So I made the determination that this was kind of the core 4 strongest units for this event, which I believe after seeing what I've seen about him today, despite the dodge cancel thing being a thing, I'm pretty sure this Super Saiyan 3 Goku is like good enough, because if we can get through that first little bit there, then transform him, then he's going to be perfectly fine for the remainder of the fight, right? And only getting stronger. But then I kind of made this lineage of, like, the power level of units available and stuff. So I think I'm pretty correct about this core 4 here. And in fact, after what I've seen, I'd probably put the Super Saiyan 3 Goku straight up second. But yeah, so I'm thinking that Majub is probably going to be a good idea. He's got type advantage. He can get guard. With the transformation, he's going to provide some healing and stuff. I think it could be a good idea to try and use him. And then, yeah, I did just want to see how Super Saiyan 4 Goku was able to tank, but knowing that he can't tank, it probably is likely that these other units at the bottom are not going to be able to tank well either against normal attacks here. But then, obviously, these three have much better defensive capabilities with like the counter attacks, the fact that these two have type advantage, and then they have a lot of damage reduction here. So let's go ahead and put Majub on the team and see if we can make it work with him. If not, we might have to resort to one of these other 3 units here. Okay, and then to just give myself a quick refresher of his kit and base, he doesn't really do much in base here. Certainly not going to be able to be in slot 1 or anything like that. He is providing some support to allies, which is nice. And then, only once our HP is 50% or less, we're able to fuse. So that's really scary too. But I think it's going to be very reasonable for us to get to that point in this fight because of how hard it hits, right? Okay, and then, yeah, once he is transformed, he's not getting this part because there's not going to be any other Majin Power allies. And then, yeah, he doesn't get, like, any of this stuff. Oh, goodness, this is going to be really scary. What's my build on him? He's full crit, too. Oh, my goodness, I might end up needing to change him into full dodge. We'll see, we'll see. I guess we'll see what he's capable of. But, yeah, that's... Ooh, that's looking quite... peculiar. And then, I guess, yeah, same deal. We should probably switch to the LR Super Saiyan 4s here again. Okay. And turn 1, we have no slot 1 unit. Dude, why can't we just get one entry into this battle where we have both LR Super Saiyan 4s on rotation? My goodness. Okay, so at least now we know the name of the game is if we survive turn 1 here, then we should be safe to get into, like, the meat and potatoes of the fight. Because turn 2, we'll have the guaranteed protection from the LR Super Saiyan 4s. Turn 3, we'll have the exact same thing. And then turn 4 and 5, we can do their transformations and have 2 more turns of protection. And then from there, we can do the Vegeta fusion and the Super Saiyan 4 transformation. So yeah, we should be good to go from that point. But really, it's just going to come down to surviving this first turn here. And we have an onslaught of attacks in slot 1 and no one to be able to tank them. That is fantastic. So I think this is pretty much the only answer. This is how we have to run the rotation here. Okay, luckily we're able to get the 24 key. We can get 9 orbs there. That's pretty hefty with them. Okay, and then I guess we can just grab these orbs here. Probably won't make too much of a difference. We can get to the 24 key either way. Okay, is this GG's? I mean, it is the first super attack, so it doesn't hit nearly as hard as what is to come, right? Ugh. Yeah, we're not going to survive with the normals after. Dude, it's just having those slot 1 units. Literally, our turn 1 RNG is, like, what we're dependent on here, right? That's all it is. Okay, so because we pretty much know the power level of these units at this point, and we've got, how many attempts left for the day? Oh, it just hit 5 o'clock right now, this very second. So we have 6 attempts again. That's actually really clutch. That's actually really clutch. Obviously, it would have been nice if that happened a little bit earlier. We would have had a couple extra attempts before the day rolled over. So there we go. We're still at 6 attempts then. That definitely helps more than anything. Okay, did we get lucky here? Let's check. There we go. Okay, so now we finally have turn 1 and turn 2 are going to be safe with the LR Super Saiyan 4s. And then obviously, even though we're not going to be able to transform with them on turn 3, they're still going to have a much higher defense than basically anybody else getting the 1 turn of stacks in, right? They're going to be close to 1,000,000, which means they might take some damage, but they definitely have a better chance to survive than these other units. Okay. I guess we might as well go full 24 key for them. Why not? Why not? We're going to have to sacrifice the 24 key for Super Saiyan 3 Goku here. Okay, this should work out. And then we'll get a little taste of seeing how much damage Majub is about to do at the very end there. We should tank this perfectly fine. With all the damage reduction, definitely not going to be a problem. So yeah, I mentioned that I did have that discussion with a community member about this fight and stuff, and they were mentioning that when they were trying out Majub in here, he only really works out that amazing when you're able to transform him pretty soon. So I'm assuming that maybe he's going to be taking a lot of damage here, you know, from normal attacks. So hopefully we can plan for us being below 50% HP by the time he returns. But we'll see. We'll see how that ends up working out for us. Because obviously we do have a pretty strong plan to make sure we're not taking damage at this point. And a lot of our units post super attack are taking 0 from any of his attacks. So I guess I'm hoping that we get hit with a super attack post super that can actually do some damage to one of our units. That would be like the most ideal situation, right? And maybe like on this next turn I could potentially like nerf myself with the Super Saiyan, the GT Super Saiyan Goku, and see if we can possibly like take a little bit of damage with him on purpose. I don't know. I don't know what the best way would be. Because yeah, obviously one unit that we know is going to take damage is Maju. I wonder if he can even like tank normals at all, basically. Yeah, like kind of not really, right? So it's like we got to be below 50%. Like he would be the one unit that can get us below 50%, but then the problem is he's going to be off rotation for 2 turns while we same type orb heal and all that stuff, right? So that really isn't going to be the most ideal situation. Okay, I do want to keep the Tech Super Saiyan Goku on rotation because that means he'll be set up. Oh, no. I want to rotate him off. I want to rotate him off because right now he is set up to still be on rotation on turn 4 and then not be able to transform until turn 6. Maybe that would be better though, giving him a couple extra turns to stack before going into Vegito. That could be good. Maybe we should plan for that. Like, I guess let's go ahead and plan for that. And then I'm also trying to consider setting up orbs for next rotation. Probably going to do this. Yeah. Okay, let's see how we do here. So we've got the damage reduction available to us here, so we're going to be fine. And that's one of only 2 potential super attacks for the turn, though. We did take a little bit of damage there, which I guess is nice. Again, we still want to get below 50%, which we're not even at yet. So, name of the game here is going to be not healing, but taking damage. Just a little bit, if we can help it. I guess I'm hoping with only the 4 orbs selected from GT Super Saiyan Goku that he might take a little bit of damage if there's a super in that 3rd slot. We'll have to see, though. And then, yeah, I suppose it could be a really good idea for me to try to postpone transformations with a lot of these characters, right? Obviously, that does get quite scary, because as we transform, it's going to give us a little bit more protection to make sure we're not getting KO'd too early on. But ultimately, it's going to service us in, like, an exponential damage kind of way. Because obviously, once we transform with all these units, we get a little bit more protection, but then they stop stacking. And so, whatever, you know, attack stats they're at post-transformation, that's just going to be where they sit for the remainder of the fight. So it's one of those things where if we spend 10 turns in base before transforming with them, then once we transform, it's going to be like a lot less turns because they're going to have so many more stats stacked on top of their kit that they're going to be able to like deplete him within a couple of turns. Whereas if we only spend a couple of turns non-transformed, it might then take more than 10 turns overall to deplete him. So I guess, you know, it's a matter of do we want less turns overall in the fight or less turns of them being at like guaranteed protection or what. So it's kind of a gamble. Oh my... Holy moly, dude. Wow. Okay. Well then. That was insane. I thought we were gonna die to the normals after for sure. Because remember, he buffs his damage so much after doing a super attack. We got very lucky there. Okay, so we have to end this rotation below 50% HP. This actually works out really well. we can start by transforming with the Super Saiyan 3 Goku here. Now, with the transformation, he's going to be able to waste his 2 super attacks for the turn. So that's good. We'll just pay attention and make sure that both super attacks have been launched by the end of this selection here. Let's see. I want to try not to get same type orbs either. So I think because of that, we'll probably grab these. Actually, maybe yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, there we go. The greens fall on the side and give us still a hefty orb selection for the LR Super Saiyan 4s in slot 1. That's going to be good. Okay, so there we go. That's the first of 2 super attacks already launched. Really good news. Because then, obviously, once we transform into Super Saiyan 4 here, get back onto the turn 3 rotation, we're not going to have to deal with any super attacks. And then the other really important thing is, because our HP was below 44%, we're going to get a heal. So that is perfect timing for this transformation. Alright, awesome. There is the second of 2 super attacks. But yeah, so then we'll heal up to 44%. Well, it'll be 45% because we were at 1% before the heal. And then that'll be perfect because we're below 50% HP, which means Majub will be able to transform on the next rotation. So we're just going to have to maintain that throughout this rotation and be cognizant of like the types of orbs that we're selecting, right, to not heal. And then does this... I can't remember actually if this guy heals with like rainbow orbs post-transformation, or if he just heals with same type orbs. Yeah, no. The healing is just with same type orbs. Okay. So we will get that healing in. Let's see it. Awesome. 45% there. Okay. And then, yeah, because we know we're dealing with only normal attacks, we should be perfectly fine. Cool. And then... yeah, I guess there, giving him 8 orbs gives him 2 stacks of the 44% stats that he gets out of his passive. And then that'll be enough orbs for him to be able to tank normals for sure as well. Okay, cool. Okay, so far so good with things. We're gonna have to... I suppose I should have peeked at their defensive stat before we started the turn here. That's a bit of a whoopsie by me. Just as far as being able to consider if we're going to be able to keep the LR Super Saiyan 4s untransformed, or if we maybe do have to transform on this next rotation. We'll see. But also with our HP being as low as it is, it might be a good idea to just transform with them anyway. Potentially. We'll see what happens here. Because the other option is that now that it's going to be turn 4, with the Tech Vegeta, we'll be able to tag switch. So if we do the tag switch reversal and then put him in slot 1, we're going to have 70% damage reduction. So that could actually be really good. In fact, let me pull that card up on the wiki too and take a look and see the exact hit of the tag reversal here. So yeah, he's got 50% damage reduction in base and then 20% with 10 or more ki. And then as the first attacker in the turn, he's guarding. Okay. So yeah, that could be quite good. We'll just have to see what his defense looks comparatively, because obviously he's only going to be stacking defense once we transform him into the tag switch phase. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, sweet. And then now here we get the transformation with Majub. Oh, and that should actually provide a heal for us as well, right? Does. Awesome. We get a 40% heal out of it. Okay, so we know we want him in slot 3. There's no doubt about that. 1.3 million. Do we think that's enough? Okay, regardless, I feel like I do probably want to tag switch the Vegito. Well, I don't know. It could be worth to continue to get the offensive power. Let me see. In base, he's kind of not good enough here in base anymore. He is going to need those defensive stacks. We got to prioritize surviving at the very least. So I think I do need to tag switch him. Start getting some defensive builds, or, you know, build up on him is going to be a good idea. And then we don't have as much support now with him in the tag switch reversal. So only 1.1 million. I feel like we do need to transform them. Oh, the other thing that I didn't really think about is we can do this. So let's transform them, and then we can peek at the scouter and see where the super attacks are going to be. They're both slot 1. So yeah, I think we probably do. This is the answer. We have to keep him transformed, and we have to keep him slot 1. I think this is the best way to go. Yeah, probably. Okay, so we'll do that. And then, I guess because we now have a permanent scouter on the rotation, we probably don't need to worry about the defensive stacks. I'm just thinking because we have the Vegito coming up next. We should prioritize one more turn of full offensive stacks for them. Just so that Vegito will do the most possible. And then I guess once he defuses out of Vegito, that's when we could switch him into the tag switch phase at that point. Sure. That's probably the best idea. Okay, super nervous about the turn here, but that's alright. We have a 70% chance to counter these super attacks, so hopefully we are able to counter them. There we go, that's going to be 1 countered. Just because of the extra damage that we're going to be doing in the turn because of it, right? These counters do hit quite hard. Unfortunately, they're both pre-super, so they don't hit quite as hard as they would if we were post-super. Awesome, there we go, another counter coming in. But yeah, another, like, kind of sucky thing is that we weren't able to provide, like, a lot of turns of waiting to transform with him, right? He was only able to get, like, 1 or 2 turns of attacks in. In fact, 1 turn, yeah, because he was here on turn 2, and then back on turn 4 we did the transformation. So he really hasn't gotten that many stacks, so that is going to hurt his overall power throughout the event. But yeah, hopefully we'll get a little bit luckier with the opposite rotation, and we won't have to transform with him quite as early. But again, it's looking very likely that on this next turn we're going to have to transform. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Because we don't really have any other slot 1 units. So if their defense doesn't look high enough, then we'll probably just need to transform with them as well. Which I guess they've gotten 1 extra turn of transformation, and they're paired with the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, so they have a much stronger rotation there. And they're going to have like a lot more defensive help. And even damage reduction support at that, so we'll see how it looks. Okay, but I'm finally glad that after all those attempts we were able to get some momentum here, right? Because obviously with this team build, the way it's working out with these stacking units, with these units that depend on transformation and stuff, the first couple of turns are definitely the scariest, right? Oof. Wow, dude. Even only 2 attacks there, and he still can't tank it. I don't know how we're supposed to survive with 5 GT Heroes characters. That's crazy. Yeah, nobody can tank. That's insane. Because obviously, like, because we need all of the GT Heroes, unless we were to have a Majin Power ally on here somehow, which we would only be able to do if we changed our leader, or, like, the Oob himself, because no one else... Oh, dude, that's so rough. That is so rough, because, yeah, after the Special Fusion, he still needs, like... Let's see. I mean, he is doing the attack lower, which is nice. And then for every Rainbow Key Sphere obtained, he gets a little bit of stats, so that helps. And then, yeah, he's not getting... Oh, wait, he gets this when he's the only Majin Power category ally. Okay, so he did have that. He only gets this when there's another. I see, I see. Okay. But yeah, so we need to prioritize getting a lot of Rainbow Key Spheres with him, I suppose. Okay. We'll go ahead and go back in. Let me make a cut so I can get some more support, or some more support reels. Okay, let's go ahead and try this one more time. See if we can get lucky, but then I'm thinking what is going to be likely a good strat. So we know that Majub was like almost able to tank those. So I guess if we get a turn where he gets like 4 Rainbow Key Spheres or something like that, then we know he would be safe to protect us because we have over 800k HP. Oh man, turn 2 looks so bad because we have both of the Super Saiyan 4s here. I kind of hate that. Alright, well, not really much that we can do about it. Other than hope and pray. And then, okay, I guess with Maju being slot 7, that is helpful, because if we survive turn 2, likely we're going to be below 50% HP when that happens, so then on turn 3, we're going to be able to transform with Majub right away. So that looks good as far as that trajectory goes. But then, yeah, barring like a bad turn with Majub orb selection-wise, and or already having some diminished HP at the start of the turn, then we could consider popping a singular Whis to keep us safe there. But yeah, it's at least good to know like what he's capable of taking at that point, right? And that was only turn 4. He wasn't even fully built up yet. He still had more stat raising to do, because he was going to get another 10% attack on turn 5. And then he still had, like, I guess, with 10 super attacks, he was doing 2 per turn. So yeah, he still had another 20% attack total to build up on top of what he already had. I guess that's good to know. But yeah, one other thing that could potentially help us here is by changing our Majub to a full additional build. Because obviously with the attack disable, we're never going to be able to depend on dodging an attack. But with the full additional build, we might proc an additional super, which is going to not only raise his defense by a little bit more, but it's also going to give us the extra attack lower onto the enemy, which would be helpful not only for Majub, but for everybody else as well, right? So yeah, maybe I will consider that. I'm not super hard-pressed to spend Dragon Stones on, you know, the Prime Battle LR Majub, but he probably is going to be our best bet to clear this stage, right? So we'll see, we'll see. Especially just because this is an attempt-limited event as well. So, you know, if we mess around too much, then we're just not going to be able to even play it, and we're going to have to wait until the next day to even attempt it, right? That would be the worst case scenario. So yeah, I guess like maybe if we take 1 or maybe 2 more deaths, especially if Majub is the one that gets us killed, then maybe going for the full additional build on him wouldn't be the worst idea, right? Okay, so 3 attacks in slot 1 there. A little bit scary for sure. I think this is probably the best way to run our rotation. Gonna have more links active with Goku than Vegeta. Okay. So yeah, not a ton of orbs selected here. Should be enough for us to survive for the turn. But then obviously we are going to be taking some damage in slot 1. The fact that the super hit first is really bad. I think we might be KO'd here because of that. Yeah. Because obviously he can tank the normals decently well, but then once the super procs, his normals are going to be hitting way harder. Okay, so again, we just lost. The only reason we lost there was because of not having the Super Saiyan Force on split rotations again. So it's kind of like just an auto lose if that happens, and normally I would just back out immediately. To like not waste using the support reels or anything on a dead run, but the problem is we have the attempt limit, so I might as well give it my best shot either way, right? Okay, so, but that being considered, especially with the attempt limits, I think I am going to change up his build. We'll go full additional for him. So let me change that really quick, and then I'm going to put some full additional equips on him, or maybe some defensive equips even, and then we'll see how that goes. Okay, there we go. So we've got a fixed up build for him now. I did not bother changing any of the crit nodes. Obviously, for in the future, it would make sense to change those to dodge. But for this fight specifically, it doesn't matter, so I didn't bother wasting the Dragon Stones swapping those. But we've got all of the, crit and dodge nodes that were covering the additionals now onto additionals. And then I gave him some quite good skill orbs as well. Some defense there, some additional dodge or additional combo attack here, and then also type defense boost, which is really cool because we know it's going to be active for the entirety of this fight since he's got type advantage the whole time. So I think that's actually going to help his defensive capabilities quite a bit here. So yeah, hopefully with all of that, we'll be seeing some more assistance from Majub here. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and jump back in. Okay, looks like our rotations could possibly be set. Unless we get pucked with the slot 7 gods. Nope, we're good, we're good. Okay, so we're able to put the gods slot 1 both turns. Yeah, our rotations are fully set up already. And we did get lucky enough to get Majub slot 3 as well. Or I guess slot 7, turn 3. That is actually like the most ideal situation. Okay, 3 rainbow orbs for them is not bad. Definitely getting the critical hits early on is going to be helpful because they are going to struggle to do damage here early on with that damage threshold. I kind of want to get the 24 key with him. We are going to have to sacrifice quite a few orbs selected with the GT Vegeta here, unfortunately. Because of that. Let's see. Just setting up orbs for next turn is something I'm thinking about. I guess we'll do this. That could have been better. Could have been better for sure. But it's alright. We have the rainbow orb changing coming in from the GT Super Saiyan Goku, so hopefully he'll help us out. Okay, so with all the support buffs that we just gave to Majub, the main name of the game at this point is just to make sure that we can get the transformation with him, right? That start of turn transformation is going to be very, very important. Because we know that he was just below the threshold of being able to keep up with the damage output of this boss, and then we just buffed him, so he should be able to keep up, but that's post-transformation, right? So he's probably still going to struggle greatly pre-transformed state. Alright, well, we get quite lucky with the super attack damage dealt on this first turn. On this next turn, I guess we don't really want to get as lucky. But there's no one that's really susceptible to taking a ton of damage from a super. I suppose the GT Super Saiyans can, right? So yeah, maybe, as I was going to say, it was maybe we could get a slot 3 super here. But yeah, maybe the same thing could happen on the next rotation. We'll see, we'll see. Okay, that's nice. Oh, there's no attacks in the third slot. Okay. Yeah, well, I can't mess around and forcibly take damage then. I kind of can't, because... let's see. Yeah, if I, try to mess around and forcibly take damage, then we're just gonna get KO'd. Because there's so many attacks up front, so I have to keep us safe. We're going to double-digit tank all of that up front. The best possible thing I could do is put the GT Super Saiyan Goku in slot 2 and hope that he takes enough damage from that normal attack there that we go below 50%. So I could select, literally one orb with him and then hope that that's enough. But that's also going to do some weird things with our rotation. I don't know if that's a good idea. Honestly, I think name of the game is we either get lucky with Majub. Or we just use a Whis to keep him safe for now. Until we can get a little bit more traction later in the fight, right? I think that's probably the best way to play it early on. Not to forcibly, like, jankify our rotations and stuff. Yeah. Yes. I think I like that idea the best. Okay. Well, we're just going to grab these couple of orbs here so we can conserve all these physical and AGL orbs for next turn. Especially in the off chance that we are not below 50%, then in that case, we would want to heal back to 100 for sure to give Majub the best chance at surviving on the next turn. And then obviously the luckiest thing that could happen is what happened here, where we have no slot 1 or slot 3 attacks at all. Then we could just put Majub slot 3 and know he's not going to have to take any damage. Like, it would have been really ideal to have Majub on this rotation. But yeah, as long as it's mostly front-loaded, even if Majub only has to tank like 1 normal, I think we'll be okay. Alright, still doing 0 damage. We're not quite above that damage threshold yet. No big deal. I assume it's probably like 10 million is the cap of where it's cutting off. But nonetheless, we are still stacking with them, even though we're not doing damage, so the damage will come in time. Alright, gonna get a decent bit of damage in here from Vegito. And again, I do want to try and prioritize just attack stacking with him all the way up to the point that we transform him, and then we can focus on defensive stacks a little bit later. Maybe that will bite us in the ass, maybe. I'm actually not 100% sure. Just considering by the time we are post-transformation with them, when they defuse out of Vegito, and then we tag switch them, he's going to be fully built up, and his attack stats are going to be very high, so I wonder if even with the 70% damage reduction that we'll be able to, like, tank him, right? I guess if we put them in slot 2 or 3, then they should be fine. They probably won't be fine for slot 1. So that extra guaranteed additional super that they get from being in slot 1, we won't be able to take advantage of for their first couple of tag switch turns, but we'll get there when we get there. That's obviously a bit of ways away. Okay, so at this point, because we don't have the 50%, Majub won't be able to transform here. He would have to tank 2 normal attacks. Okay, so first let's select all these orbs for the gods. Or for the Super Saiyan 4s, I mean. They're at 1.4 million, so they're fine. We are back to 100% HP. And everybody is going to double-digit tank, or should double-digit tank everything until his point. So maybe he will survive these. It's such a risky gamble, but I'm pretty sure we can save the Whis. I'm pretty sure we can save it. I am going to take the risk. He's only getting hit with 2 attacks. Remember that this Goku's cooldown between super attacks is only 1, and he has a 40% chance to proc them. So with all those other attacks up front, I think it's very likely that Majub is not getting hit with a super at the end. We'd have to get really unlucky for both supers not to proc by that point. And right on cue, we see one popping right at the beginning, which is, again, not the best, because now that means that his attack is... Oh. Okay, so we lost. No! Yeah, Majub's not going to be able to tank those 2 attacks at the end. I guess without the 77% damage reduction, his super attack was doing enough that we did take damage from it, right? Because their straight-up defense number was enough to compete with his damage from super, but not with the great raises that he gets of 80%. Okay, so yeah, turns out we should have used a Whis here. But now we know for next time. Again, still learning a little bit with this team. Things aren't perfectly solidified yet as far as what to do with everybody. But yeah, now we know. Now we know for sure. It's looking like the Whis are probably going to be an earlier on thing that we want to use in order to pass past this phase. Wow, even post-super, they're still taking damage? Oh my goodness. That's definitely not good. I guess we just pray that the support from Super Saiyan 3 Goku is enough with the extra damage reduction, and then the attack lower that we do to him. But I'm pretty much guaranteeing we're dead here, right? Like, there's no way we survive this. 2 normals that we have to take, it's just not gonna happen. Yeah. And in fact, it doesn't look like we would have tanked it even at full HP, because that was a little bit more than 50% of what we had. So yeah, we did definitely have to use the Whis there. But now we know. Now we know. Okay. This is a dead run, almost guaranteed. Getting Majub right up front like that, on top of both Super Saiyan 4s on the same rotation. We have to rotate off Majub. There's nothing we can, like, there's no choice there. We have to. Everybody else is going to be safe for the turn, for sure. But the problem is we can't rotate off the Super Saiyan 4s because we have to prioritize rotating off Majub, which means that turns 2 and turn 4 are going to be really scary. Yeah, but hopefully Majub can survive. Okay, so the only reason I didn't use an item this time, given all the information we had from last time, is because it's turn 1. So he hasn't powered up as much yet. So hopefully that means that Majub will be able to tank the normals on turn 1. We're still going to take a lot of damage here. We are going to take a lot of damage. I'm prepared for that. But then worst case, if it doesn't look like we can survive next turn with the HP we're at, we can always pop a Whis, right? But it is always, I think it is in general better to take a lot of damage on a turn and then pop a Whis the next turn where you have a low amount of HP to work with, rather than pop the Whis a turn early to not take the damage in the first place. You know, because that is an option that you have, but then the potential with that is that if you do pop the Whis early, then it goes away 1 turn earlier, right? Whereas now we'll be able to have like a better turn on turn 3 if we have to use the Whis on turn 2 type of thing. But I'm pretty sure that a turn 1 Majub can survive. And then this is just another good learning, you know, like lesson to learn here with the team that we're using, if Majub can survive on turn 1 or not. And like what he takes from normals. Because obviously anytime that he shows up turn 1, we know he's going to be untransformed. So it'll be good to have like just a hard number of knowing what we're dealing with. For future reference. Because honestly, what it seems like is today is just going to be like research day. And then tomorrow when we have more attempts available, we might be able to come back in and get some real attempts in here. And potentially actually win it. Because there are a lot of big mistakes that I've been making just because I didn't know what was going to happen with the units. So we are kind of wasting a lot of attempts. Whereas when we come back in, we'll already have all that information ready to go, right? Okay, did he already do 2 supers? I wasn't even paying attention to that, to be honest. Okay, let's see if we can get an additional and lower that attack twice. How about that? Yes, there we go. Full additional build coming in clutch. Very nice. Another attack lower there. And yeah, much better. Much better. Okay, so turn 1 plus the double attack lower definitely helped out. Oh yeah, I guess that's another thing to mention, is that on that last turn where he was barely taking more than 50% of our HP, he also did not, double super to get the double attack lower, so that hurt us as well. Okay, and then because of our HP being low, we can actually transform with Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and I think that's what we're going to need to do to survive here, because we don't have any slot 1 units to tank, so this would be another GG KO like what we've been seeing before, but because we can make the enemy waste all of his super attacks, we could actually be safe here. Alright. I want to be a little bit cognizant about the key sphere selection, but I kind of would rather just do the damage from the crits here. Yeah, sure. Like, we'll grab all that. And then I guess these AGL orbs will be nice. We could potentially... But we're probably going to want to select those with the Super Saiyan 4 Goku himself. We'll see, we'll see. I'm just trying to be considerate of the, you know, the Super Saiyan GT Goku in the final slot. That's going to need a lot of orbs. I mean, everybody's kind of orb hungry on this rotation, so this might be a bit rough here, but we'll see. Okay, that's super attack 1 of 2, right? Or was that 2 of 2? I actually wasn't even paying attention to the beginning attacks there. It's pretty heavily likely that by the end of the turn, he's done both of his super attacks, right? I feel like we'd have to get really unlucky for that to not be the case. And then the other thing is, if he didn't launch his second super yet, by the end of all of those attacks, because he has such a little cooldown and such a high chance for it to proc, it's pretty much guaranteed to be a slot 1 super, which it doesn't matter which unit on rotation we put in slot 1, there's no one here that can survive a slot 1 super, so it really won't matter if we have that knowledge of if he's done the super or not. It's just going to kill us or it won't. Okay, so again, we are facing that problem. We don't have a slot 1 unit here. Unfortunately, there's still 3 slot 1 attacks to take. Let's see. We have a lot of GT links here that I like seeing active. Legendary Power helps us out, though, too. Let's see. 418, 450. He has a little bit more defense this way. Maybe we should run the rotation like this, then. We can get some healing in here. Bunch more healing. Yeah, that's unfortunately, that's probably the best way to run things. And then we're going to have a really scary rotation on turn 4. Because we're going to have Majub around as well. Yeah, okay. That turn 4 might be where we end up using a Whis or something. We'll see. Alright, we get lots of good healing in there. Hopefully that's enough. Yeah, okay, he's tanking normals fine. That's good, that's good. And then actually all those attacks received are going to help him do some more damage because he's got the better chance to crit, the key building up and stuff. And then this is nice because from this point forward, we're going to have this Super Saiyan 4 Goku permanently stacking, right? So he's just going to look better and better every rotation, which obviously his defense isn't going to be able to stack up high enough, quick enough to be able to depend on him as a slot 1 unit. But he will certainly be better than like the other units we have available. At least for turn 4 specifically. Man, I almost feel like it would have been better to not rotate Majub off. But then in slot 2, he might have had to tank a super attack, which wouldn't have happened. He would have had a hit and gotten hit from an extra additional, like normal. But yeah, the benefit to that is that turn 4, we would have then had our LR Super Saiyan 4s on rotation, right? But yeah, no worries. I guess worst case scenario, we can just pop a Whis and stay safe from there. I'm thinking that's most likely what's going to need to happen. We shouldn't need to pop a Whis on this next turn. I don't know. We'll take a look at what our defensive numbers look like. Because I remember before, on about turn 3, when we didn't have the Whis active, if they get hit with a slot 1 super right here, let's see what their defense numbers are at. If they're like at about 1 million, yeah. If they get hit with a slot 1 super, then they're going to take like 400k or something. Which I suppose we do want... No, we're not going to use a Whis. We're not going to use a Whis. I want there to be a slot 1 super that we can take some damage from, because that's going to allow us to potentially get below 50% HP so Majub can transform next turn. So yeah, I'm thinking if we do get slot 1 supered, we're going to take a pretty hefty amount of damage, and I'm a little bit worried about what the GT Super Saiyan Vegeta here is going to tank for on this turn, especially if he gets supered as well. So I think it's the smartest idea to get us back to full HP on the turn. So we'll do that. We'll prioritize that over anything else. And then pray there's a slot 1 super. Okay, perfect. So we should take some damage here. Let's see. Yeah, that should do it. Okay, awesome. So now all we have to do is double-digit tank for the rest of the turn, and then we're good to see that transformation next turn. Which, again, is going to help out, but we still are for sure going to want to probably use a Whis on the next turn as well. Our HP is going to fully heal, though, with that transformation, so that will be, I guess, one helpful thing. Since we don't have any healing items around, obviously. But also, we do have to survive to that point, so I'm really hoping that the other super attack for the turn hits right now. Because now that they've gotten these extra stacks from supering, yeah, there we go. Now they're going to be able to tank this super a lot better. Probably for 5 digits. Oof, okay, still 100k, but we survived it. And that means that if they were taking that much, this GT Super Saiyan would have taken... we would have gotten KO'd by the super from that, right? Probably. Given how low our HP already was. Okay, and then with the additional super here, his defense will definitely be high enough to tank the normals here. And obviously, we only have normals coming for the rest of the turn. Wow, even a triple super. Yeah, he's definitely going to be fine. And in fact, with the triple super, maybe he would have tanked better than I'm assuming. Quadruple? Oh my goodness. Wow, yeah, that's a lot of attacks from him for the turn. We love to see that. Dude, this fight just has so much HP. It's insane. We've been working on all these strats to just get us through to like the normal part of the fight where our units are actually built up a little bit, but then he still has so much HP to go. We're like not even a quarter of the way there yet. As far as like the number of turns, because obviously the amount of damage that we do per turn is going to go up over time as our units stack and we transform and we've got active skills to activate and stuff. And then obviously we're going to have a really heavy damaging turn at some point with once we transform into Vegito. But yeah, we're like way less than a quarter of his HP down. But then probably about less than a quarter of the way through as far as the number of turns it's going to take to deplete all his HP. Which is why it's really scary that we might have to use a Whis next turn. Because we've only got 2 of them to use throughout the entirety of the fight here. Okay, so let's see. This actually... Ooh. Okay, we do get the 100% heal because both of the start of turn heals procced. Because he gets the 40% heal upon transformation, and then he gets the 40% heal if we're below 44% HP. So it looks like they both procced. I was worried that the transformation heal was going to put us above the percentage where this heal would proc, but it looks like they both procced at the same time, so that's good. Back to 100%. And then now we know for sure we want to have Majub off rotation, but again, because of all of the attacks and their placement and stuff, what the information we already have, we know that this turn will be impossible to survive without popping a Whis. So we have to use one here, or it's just going to be GG's. And then with the Whis activated, now we know we should be, well, we don't know, but we assume we should be perfectly safe for the turn here. Kind of wish I could have gotten a little bit more orbs with him. That would have been great. But not the biggest deal. And let's see. Oh, right. He's getting the extra stats with all the rainbow orbs achieved. Or collected, obtained, whatever. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get those rainbow orbs in there for him. I guess that's one thing that kind of hurts this team a little bit, is that it's so heavy on the rainbow orb selection. But we do have a few rainbow orb changers, right? I mean, I guess more than half of the team is a rainbow orb changer. Because once we transform with the LR Super Saiyan 4s, they're going to be providing that for us as well. So, not the worst, not the worst. Okay. Oh, perfect. I was going to say, it would be nice if both the super attacks launched here, just so we know for sure we don't have to worry. And then we're definitely going to be double-digit tanking with the Super Saiyan Goku. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what Majub takes through the Whis. So he is transformed now. We're at 100% HP. He got 3 rainbow orbs to boost his stats a little bit. So we'll see if he can manage to get a double super for the double attack lower as well. That would be the best possible chance that we have to tank really well. But I think surely, regardless of what he ends up taking through the Whis, we shouldn't get KO'd here. especially because we know it's just normal attacks, right? All right, and he even did some damage there. Managed to make it above the damage threshold. That's pretty impressive. Okay, so there you go. We do get the double attack lower as well. And he's almost double-digit tanking. Okay, again, that's through a Whis. That's through a Whis, so it's not perfect, but that is something. All right, and then another thing that we have to consider now is that we, again, have a Whis active, right? We've got a Whis up right here, which means we have the advantage of delaying our transformations again, because obviously our defensive stats are going to be enough with the Whis up here. So that's good news because we'll get one more turn of stacking in with both of these Dokkan Fest LRs before we have to eventually transform. And then let me just give myself a quick reminder about the full effects of his active skill. It's just damage. And he's not building up over time or anything. He's as strong as he's going to be right now. Oh, I guess he just gets a lot when activating the active skill. It's weird that they would put this effect in his passive and not just put it on the active skill, right? But I guess the active skill does give you stuff for the turn, right? Well, no, because this says massively raises attack temporarily. Yeah, weird. Weird that it wouldn't just say 350% stats and massively raises attack temporarily, but that they put it here. Interesting stuff. Okay, yeah, so I guess all that considered, I don't really need to use it yet. It's probably not going to ultimately make a difference when we use it. But maybe if we save it to, like, the very end of the fight, if we manage to, like, get onto a specific rotation where he's only got a little bit of HP left and we're worried about slot 1 or something, then we could just launch the active to, like, skip the turn entirely. But that's only really... That's a more useful strategy if you have a multi-phase fight, that you could use an active skill to end a phase and not have to do orb selection or worry about slot 1 and stuff. But obviously here, that would only be an effective thing if it was the very end of the fight. So maybe we'll just wait, I guess, and see. So yeah, for now, we're safe for the turn, like we already talked about. So let's just go ahead and select orbs here, see how we do. And then again, I do want to keep Vegito in attack form. I feel like that might be a really big mistake coming up later, but it essentially seems like this probably the smartest idea to me to prioritize the attack buildup so that Vegito can do the most damage as possible on his turn. Probably is going to be the best strat, probably. If we end up finding out that even, you know, waiting till turn 7 to transform, having kept him on rotation the entire time, doing all of the attack support the whole time, and then we notice that he doesn't do nearly enough damage on the Vegito transformation turn to be able to, like, deplete this enemy's HP, then at that point we would know it's a better idea to start tag switching him early. Because essentially, if we do go all out with attack, and then on the Vegito turn, he's able to do like 75% of this guy's HP, then we know it was worth it, right? Because ultimately, the amount of turns in battle that we would diminish is so heavy based on the amount of attack stacking that we've done. But if that doesn't end up being the case, then yeah, it would definitely be worth it to just defensive stack, because we know that we're not going to be able to just keep him in Vegito for the majority of the fight anyway, and we're going to have to use him post Vegito transformation where we would need him in the tag switch form, and then at that point it would be really, really nice to have already gotten some defensive stacks, right? So yeah, we'll keep that in mind moving forward, but first, you know, we've been failing so early on, we haven't really been able to see the Vegito transformation, so we first just have to get one successful run here where we see the Vegito transformation, see how much damage it's able to do to this guy, and then we'll go from there to be able to make future decisions. So I guess in that regard, we still are in, like, the research phase with this team, right? Because we haven't seen what this transformation is capable of doing to us. Or for us, I guess, to him. But at this point, he has been super attacking twice per turn. And we are at 5 turns. So he is now fully built up. He's gotten the 50% attack stats from the turn passage and the 50% attack stats from the super attacks performed. So now he is at a full 100% attack higher than his like initial base stats. And then obviously that goes up by 80% and then 160% with the 2 super attacks that he does within the turn. So yeah, quite a lot of bonuses going on there. Okay, so we have another opportunity to transform here. So now I'm thinking. We have a couple of options. We can do the very first thing we could do is we could use the other Whis right now. Okay, so looking at, I guess, let me switch because we're going to talk about these stats for a second. Let me switch here. So we're looking at 600k, but because of the 50% here and the 50% here, this is now 1.2 million. We know that our defense is high enough on the LR Super Saiyan 4s to tank 1.2 million. But the super attack is 1.3 million. With 100% on that, that's already 2.6 million. And then he gets another 80% on top of the 2.6 million. But I think it's... I don't know if it's 80% of the 1.3 or if it's 80% of the 2.6. But either way, that's going to be putting us at a higher... like a considerably higher number than their defense, right? Because their defense right now is 2.2. So we know it's going to be like upwards of 2.6 whatever anyway, right? It's probably going to be like 3 point something. So guaranteed we know they cannot tank a super in slot 1. And obviously neither can the other two. So we have a couple of options. We can either transform with them here to stop the infinite stacking, or we can pop the other Whis. If we pop the other Whis, that's going to allow us... Well, no, I don't think that's a good idea, because then on the next turn, I was going to say we do have Majub around, but on the next turn, Majub is going to be safe because we're going to use the Vegito active skill, and that'll be the target skill mechanic. So that will kind of be a waste of our Whis if we do that, right? So yeah, maybe then that answers my question. It's going to be the best idea here to transform with them now. Alright, we'll go ahead and get them up, and then now we have the Scouter so we can see where the super attacks are at, but more importantly, so that we can counter them. And luckily they both are in the first slot there, so we are going to be able to counter both super attacks coming up here. That will be very nice. How's the Dokkan gauge? Okay, we still got a couple more turns till we might potentially see that Dokkan attack proc. How do I want to do this? I guess we can go... We can go like this. He does get a little bit of additional stats with the extra orbs selected, but he's not the unit that I'm trying to, like, prioritize selecting orbs, right? He needs it a lot less than these other units here. Even with only one orb selected, the Super Saiyan 4 Goku is probably still going to be fine most turns. Okay, so we didn't actually end up countering that one, but it's alright. We've got guard, because it's our first turn after transforming, we had the 77% damage reduction, so they weren't in danger of taking damage there anyway, but it does just suck that that's a little bit less damage we're going to be able to deal out for the turn, right? Oh, and then we proc the attack disable as well. If the super attack was the first of the 2 attacks after our attacks here, then it's going to get disabled, which again would suck because that's a counter we wouldn't get, so that's less damage we'll be able to do. Let's see here. Oh, we did disable the super. No. Okay, so no counter attack damage in there, unfortunately. But it's alright. We still definitely did need the transformation in order to survive the turn, right? That was a guarantee. Oh, and I actually just thought of one more thing. Because we're going to use the Vegito transformation this next turn, and use the target skill mechanic, that means that we don't have to transform with the LR Gods again. Or the Super Saiyan 4s again. We're going to be able to keep them in base and do even one more turn of stacking. So that's actually really exciting. Just getting them up to some crazy, crazy numbers. Yeah, I am actually feeling pretty good about this run so far. Because remember, we still do have one Whis for later on. Because we have a couple of turns of really, really, you know, powerful attacks coming in here and stuff. And then post all of that, we'll be able to use a Whis, right? Okay, so yeah, here's the point where we definitely want to transform with into Vegito here. And it actually does work out really well for us that... Okay, both the super attacks are slot 2, not bad. But yeah, it works out really well for us that there's only one attack in the first slot this time. So we're going to be able to get all of our super attack buildup before dealing all the counters. So the counters are going to do even more damage because of all of that, right? We have a good amount of attacks on this turn. I think this is like close to the most we've seen, so that is very nice as well. All right, we'll prioritize some same type orb selection here so that we can get closer to that Dokkan attack. I guess with them, I want all these orbs so that we can do more damage potentially. And then same deal with Oob. We'll go for the same type orbs here for the build toward that Dokkan gauge. And then, yeah, it looks like next turn we're going to have one more turn of orb selection, and then on the following turn after that, on turn 9, I think we might be able to proc the Dokkan attack if we're lucky. We're going to need a couple of same-type orb selections to make that happen, but I don't think that should be too big of a problem. Okay, so already right away I am seeing that the Vegito transformation is not going to be doing, like, a billion, you know, damage total in the HP loss. Obviously, it's going to be nice, all these extra counterattacks that we're doing, but yeah, we're not doing nearly as much as I would have, like, expected or hoped. So that's just going to be something to consider moving forward, that this transformation alone doesn't make it like a free win or anything, right? We're still going to have a lot of work to do to get that W. But that's all right. We still have a lot left in the tank. Because remember, we haven't even transformed with these guys. So they just are continuing to build up. And then on the next turn when they come back around, we will finally transform with them. And then that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is going to be looking insane. We also have both of the active skills from the Super Saiyan 4 Gogetas that we're going to be able to proc once we get this guy's HP below 50%. Which I think it is now, actually. At this point, it is below 50%, so starting next turn, we're going to be able to potentially proc those. Active skills there, which will be very good. Those are going to be giving us a lot of extra damage, too. And then also the GT Super Saiyans do have their active skills as well, which I can't imagine those active skills are going to really do that much. They're probably not going to provide much damage for us. Not nearly as much as the Super Saiyan 4's active skills. But I guess it's worth noting. It's still something, right? Alright, perfect, and our attack is still going up with those. It just does suck that with the super attacks, he doesn't provide any counters, right? So there's no, like, extra damage that we're dealing out from it. But we still got, what, two more counters to do for the turn? Let's see. Yeah, 2 more counters left for the turn here. And that attack stat is still raising up. There we go. So yeah, he is handedly below the 50% HP mark. We're going to be able to use that active skill on the next turn here. Okay. So we have lots of actives to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and proc this active skill first. See how much damage we can deal out with that. Okay, that was quite good. And then we've got the super attacks in the first 2 slots, so we'll do this. We know that post-super, the Super Saiyan 4 Goku is going to be fine to take damage, or to tank and not take damage. And then I guess at this point, because we're getting so close to the end here, and we've got, like, the extra active skill we're going to be able to proc next turn. We have 2 more active skills to proc next turn, and we have still the Vegito himself is going to be able to counter in whatever slot we put him in. So we've got a lot of damage coming. I think it's probably wise to just launch this active now, just to get out as much damage as possible. Sure. Alright, cool. Another little bit in there. Not a ton, but it helps. Every little bit helps at this point, right? Okay, so we'll grab all these with them. And that was some same type orb selection. We get some more same type orb selection here for that Dokkan gauge to fill. And then I guess we might as well get all of these orbs. Get him the most amount possible. There we go. Okay, this should be a pretty solid turn for us as well. We know everybody's going to be safe. We know for a fact that both the units that are tanking the supers have enough defensive power to tank there. So that'll be fine. Our next question marks really come next turn, right? But well, actually not even that, because we're still transformed into Vegito, and we're going to have the other Super Saiyan 4 transformation. So yeah, next turn should be fine. I think it's the following turn after that. Where, well, I mean, we still do have the 2 of them. Yeah, we're kind of safe. I think we have a really, really good shot at doing this. To be honest with you, I feel like the only thing that's going to really... Oh, nice, we did get the counter this time, though. That's good. Lots of extra damage in there. Wonderful. But yeah, I think having Majub around is the only reason that we would really need to depend on using that other Whis. Other than that, it looks like our team, for the most part, is pretty solid at this point. We did finally manage to break through that threshold of the earlier part of the fight, which I guess using the Whis earlier on did assist us in getting there, right? Of just getting through that beginning part of the fight before we were able to build up with all these units. So that is good stuff. All right, and then up to 24 million. I guess a few attacks would be nice here, especially with the crits in there, yeah. Actually, it's looking like next turn might just be our last turn. Probably. No, actually it will be, because we still have the Super Saiyan 4's active skill, and they were built up even more than this Super Saiyan 4, and this Super Saiyan 4 almost did a whole bar of HP with their active, so we might even just finish it off with the active skill straight up. Let's see. So we'll do that first, and then let's go ahead and launch the active right away. Okay, well, we did do over the damage cap. Remember that whenever you see all those all 9s, you're not actually capped out to doing that much damage. It's just the display is capped out, and they will actually do the real attack stat that they're doing there, right? Okay, and then we'll launch his attack, his active skill attack as well. Might as well. And then, yeah, it's it's game over right here. There's nothing left to do, right? So we'll just have Vegito be up front, I guess. He can just do a counter attack and then a super, and that'll probably finish it off for us. Oh, and there we go. We finally get the Dokkan attack even. So, yeah, it is definitely donezo. And for the very first time, he's going to be supering in the 3rd slot where we don't have to deal with it. So that is quite nice. Okay, sure, might as well. It's not even going to be necessary to do. We could get this done a little bit quicker if I just didn't select any of these orbs, because then obviously you don't go through the whole Dokkan attack animation sequence, and you just do your normal super attack animation, but no big deal. Might as well have a hefty damaging attack for the very end here. Awesome. Okay, well, yeah, I guess with that strategy in mind, we probably could have finished this event with quite a few other team build options. You know, mainly I'm talking about swapping the Majub for somebody else. Because obviously the other 4 units are kind of required. If you're going to get this done with 5 GT Heroes units, then it's going to be quite necessary for you to, you know, have those 4 at least. Wow, you know, I really didn't expect us not to KO with the Dokkan attack there. That's wild. I was holding my breath slightly there that we might have gotten KO'd by the super, but obviously in the Vegito transformation stage, he's still very, very strong defensively. But yeah, okay, so there we go. We got the win. Get the W in there. We get our mission cleared, so we'll go ahead and collect the tickets and then the support memory boost medals there. Man, we only had 2 tries left. I'm glad we were able to get that done then. Cool, there we go. And then we were able to get the other mission for just clearing the stage for the first time, right? We still have a couple of missions to go, but we'll take care of those in separate videos on their own. So yeah, really quick before we finish up, I just wanted to talk about this list here, because obviously this core 4 is absolutely necessary. Like, there's no way. Like, maybe -1 of these units you'd be able to do it, but you really do depend on these units a lot. They are so much stronger than any of the other GT Heroes options, right? And Majub was decent for us, but considering that we only had him on rotation where he was unprotected, like, 1 time, where we really needed to depend on using an item to make sure he didn't take damage, you could probably just apply that same strategy with, like, any of these other units, right? So yeah, I guess the major thing is that he is providing a little bit of support to the team, and he has type advantage, which is huge, and not all these units do. And then he also is lowering attack on his super attack effect, which is really good, as well as getting, like, the raised stats from the rainbow orbs and stuff. So yeah, but I don't know. These guys have some capability as well. And then the fact that, like, all three of these Super Saiyan 4 units here have the super attack countering capabilities. Lots of these units are going to be providing the scouters. Well, like, this guy's going to be providing the scouter, as well as the Vegito will provide the scouter as well. So yeah, I don't know. I think based on that exact run that we did, I think that many, if not all 5 of these other units could have taken place of the Majub for this specific run that we just did. But yeah, so I guess keep that in mind as you move forward if you are planning on using items. But yeah, if you're gonna no item it, then I would say guaranteed, like none of these units down here could take care of business for you. You're gonna have to have Maju. So yeah, that was quite crazy. What a difficult mission. Definitely one of the harder ones in game at this point, I would assume. But all right, we're going to go ahead and finish it up there. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.